The time was 8:23 a.m. The sun was shining and the breeze was still. Donnie got out of the tent and saw that Mikey was preparing breakfast. He walked over to the table to find 4 bowls of oatmeal. "Good morning. Hungry?" Mikey asked. Of course, Donnie was hungry. Who wasn't? "Yes. May I?" Donnie said as he held his hands around the bowl. Mikey gave him the go-ahead. Donnie sat down and started eating. Raph and Leo soon came along. Together, they ate breakfast. Donnie wasn't sure, but this was probably the first time they ate breakfast together during this whole trip. Evening in the morning, they could tell it was going to be a warm day. Mikey suggested they should head to the lake. Raph and Leo were easy to accept. Donnie sat there for a moment to decide. His hip felt better than the last 2 days ago, so he accepted the offer. Mikey quickly got to work making the sandwiches for lunch later. He packed them in an insult bag. Donnie tossed his swim trunks and flipped on his straw hat. They started their short journey over to the lake. Leo was the first to jump in. Raph quickly followed, tackling Leo in the process. Mikey hesitated a bit, but then joined Leo and Raph after they urged him in. Donnie sat on the lines for the moment. Leo and Mikey splashed each other with water while Raph swam around like a shark. Donnie came over and sat in the shallow water, feeling the small waves wash through his toes. Raph and Leo were teaching Mikey how to swim. They had Mikey swim back and forth from Leo to Raph, Raph to Leo. And Mikey looked like he was doing a really good job, too. Donnie lay down and played in the water through his fingers. He liked the feeling of gentle waves washing around him. Of course, right when you look away, someone started coughing. Donnie looked over to see Raph holding Mikey, wrapping his arms around him. He got up and waded over to them. "Is he okay?" "Yeah, he just got water up his nose," Raph said as he patted Mikey's back. Mikey continued to cough. "Are we done for now?" Mikey asked between coughs. "Yeah, it's about lunchtime already." They made their way back to land and ate the sandwiches Mikey prepared. Leo, still having a sandwich stuffed in his mouth, dashed off to the water again. Raph quickly got up and stopped him before he could touch the lake, scooping him up into his arms. "Nope. Finish your food properly. Wait 30 minutes, then you can go back to the water," Raph said as he carried Leo back over to the others. Leo groaned. He wanted to go swimming now. They played a few card games while they waited. Soon, everyone was back in the water. Leo came over to where Donnie was sitting. "Guess what I have? Nardo. If it's a beach ball, I will." Leo whipped his hand around to reveal a twig with a few yellow leaves still attached. Confusion became Donnie's face for a moment. "It's just a stick." Leo bopped Donnie on the forehead with it. That honestly made Donnie more confused. Leo giggled and continued to bop Donnie on the face. Donnie's blank face was worth a fortune to Leo. One of the leaves almost entered Donnie's mouth. He sputtered and waved his hands around. He snatched the twig and bopped Leo for revenge. Leo snickered and ran back into the water. Donnie began chasing him. Leo returned playing with Raph and Mikey in the deeper part. They looked so far away. Donnie stopped when his chest was deep in the water. He wasn't comfortable with the idea of going deeper into the lake. What if his hip acted up again and it made him harder to swim? Donnie thought about all the scenarios where this could go wrong. But one scenario kept playing on repeat, over and over and over. It felt like the water was slowly crushing him. His knees felt weak. The thought was eating at his heart, making his stomach cave in and his chest felt flat. One of his knees gave way, making him tumble into the water. Frantically, he splashed around, trying to regain his footing. He drew his face out of the water and began coughing. His nostrils burned from the lake water. Donnie quickly turned back and got to a more shallow area of the lake. He got down and continued coughing. The more he coughed, the faster he breathed. The unnecessary panic was only building from there. Tears started dripping from his eyes like a rag being rubbed dry. He tried thinking about all the things around him. He could feel the water, the gentle waves as they splashed onto his back, the same waves he choked on a minute ago. He could feel that twig that was still in his hand. He gripped the stick in both hands and began snapping it in small pieces. Distraction is what he needed, right? Something to occupy his mind. Quickly, he ran out of sticks to snap. He dropped the bits into the waves below and tightly rubbed his hands. To his mistake, he thought about how fast he was breathing. It felt like he wasn't getting enough oxygen, making it feel like he needed to breathe. Donnie tried to listen to his surroundings in an attempt to calm himself down, but all he could hear was his own breathing. "Hey, are you okay?" It sounded like Raph, but also the most gentle too. A tickle formed in the back of his throat. He definitely coughed way harder than he needed to. "Breathe. You're okay," Raph said gently. As he crouched down in front of him, he gently touched Donnie's knees to tell him that he was right there with him. He breathed slowly so Donnie could follow. He tapped on Donnie's knees one after the other in slow and steady rhythm. Donnie closed his eyes and tried his best to remove the thoughts from his head. The thoughts that got him so worked up in the first place. Instead, he thought about his family, how they were always there when they needed them. Donnie started to calm down, but relief came through tears as he began sobbing. He crawled over and curled in Raph's lap. Raph gently rubbed his shoulder. Donnie hated this. He didn't want to feel weak and vulnerable. But there was no stopping the emotions that were spilling out. Donnie clung tighter to Raph's tank top. What would Donnie do without Raph? "You want to go back to camp now?" Raph asked. Donnie nodded his head. Raph picked up Donnie and signaled the others it was time to go. Of course, Leo and Mikey would complain, but they did as they were told. Mikey grabbed the bag and caught up with the others. When they got back to camp, Mikey immediately started making a fire. Tonight was bacon and beans. He cut the beans into pieces and tossed a skillet and some onions over the fire. They shimmered until the onions were soft and the bacon was crispy. Then he tossed in some beans, molasses, brown sugar, ketchup, and mustard. He waited till the liquids turned into a syrup. He served it on plates and gave it to the others. They ate around the campfire until they were dried off from the lake. Donnie's energy felt so drained. He looked around blankly, trying to figure out what he was supposed to do. Besides, Mikey's delicious food he made was for all of them. Donnie finished, brushed his teeth, and headed to bed earlier that night.